What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we've got another lovely Transformers card brought to us by the lovely Landon Dastrup over at TCG Rollout. And if you're not subscribed to him on Twitter, or following him on Twitter, and subscribed over on YouTube, yeah, maybe you go fix that. Because he's a lovely man, and he's really knowledgeable about Transformers. The card he's showing us today is Device Virus. We got a lovely little Shockwave on there. Of course, we know Shockwave is coming as a super rare in the set, so that kind of makes a little bit of sense that he'd be on there. And it's upgrade removal. Except it's really, really good upgrade removal. Now, it's got a black icon. And the thing is, and I've showed you this in a couple videos lately, black icon cards so far have been bad. Just unmitigatedly, objectively bad. So we saw Rock Toss. And Rock Toss is a bad card. Because Rock Toss allows you to do 1 damage to a damaged character. Except we've got Zap that lets you do 1 damage to a character tapped or untapped. I suppose that's got an orange icon. Maybe we want a blue icon. Yeah, we've got Heavy Landing from the Constructicons deck, the Devastator deck, which does 1 damage to any enemy and has a blue icon. So, make no mistake about it, Rock Toss is a bad card. Similarly, we saw Combat Dagger, which gives you bold 1, except back in wave 1 we had Flamethrower, which gave you bold 2. And there's a million different ways to get bold. I ain't going through them in this video, but if you check out that video, I'll pop a link in the description, then you can go through all of those options at your leisure. So we expect black icon cards to be bad, but then of course they've got black icons, black gives you PS1 and all of that, and that's lovely. We'll have a quick chat about black icons at the end. And essentially, I think Transformers are planning something with black icons because they've given us bad cards, but it's alright, they've got black icons. But the thing is here, this card's actually really good. Scrap 1 of your upgrades. Scrap up to 2 enemy upgrades of the same type as your scrapped upgrade. Well, this is upgrade removal, except it's multiple upgrade removal. And generally speaking, what we've had so far is remove an upgrade or remove everything. So we had Inferno back in wave 1. I love Inferno. I still want to make a good Inferno deck. I've not had much success so far, but I live in hope, ladies and gentlemen. I live in hope. Plus, huge attack. Anyway, Inferno, when you flip it into alt mode, return all upgrades on a character to their owner's hand. But even then, it was just all upgrades on one character. It wasn't multiple upgrades for multiple different characters. Whereas here, and the wording is very important, 2 enemy upgrades of the same type. So they could be 2 on the same character, or they could be 2 on separate characters. Most of the time they kind of have to be on separate characters, but you do see the odd ones like Megatron Living Weapon that can have 3 weapons, where you may wish to scrap 2 weapons off of that one character card. But generally speaking, these are going to be 2 from separate ones. Now, the huge downside here is that you've got to scrap 1 of your own upgrades. I suppose that's just a risk you take. Just don't do it if you can't afford to get rid of an upgrade. I mean, you can mitigate this. So what you could do is, say, get rid of an armor from your Megatron Arrogant Ruler, and then immediately flip Megatron Arrogant Ruler, and then play Hunker Down, at which point you get to put an armor from your scrap pile onto each of your tanks that doesn't have one, so you get the same one back while also attaching extra armor. Because otherwise you just play Hunker Down, and it would have an armor attached, so you wouldn't be able to attach one. So, and it's not going to be often, but if you can play this directly before a Hunker Down, it would work quite nicely. Of course, you'd either have to play it the turn before, or you'd have to play a Brainstorm, because unfortunately they are both actions, and unless you play a Brainstorm, it is 1 action per turn. But you might just not really care. Of course, we all know that when you attach an upgrade, if you've already got an upgrade on there, you have to scrap the one on there. So Energon Axe springs to mind. Energon Axe, great card. Can only be attached to damaged characters. Gives you +3 attack, gives you PS2. It's a really good card. Problem is, you can't put that on an undamaged character. So maybe you put another weapon on there in the meantime. Let's just say flamethrower. Because I've already talked about it. It's fun. Synergy, all of that. Well then, when you're damaged, you might want to replace flamethrower with an energon axe. So you can just drop this. Get rid of the flamethrower that was going to be scrapped when you attach energon axe anyway. And then you've not lost anything and you get to get rid of a couple of weapons. And then we get round to the awkward part of this, and it is very awkward. You can only scrap upgrades of the same type as the one that you scrapped off your own character. Which means if your opponent's got a force field that you really want to remove, you need to remove an armor. Or else you can't do it. Now, one thing that could be really cool here is scrapping one of your utilities to remove 2 of your opponent's cargo trailers in the unlikely event they get 3 attached, because 3 cargo trailer plus 9 attack, 1 cargo trailer plus 1 attack. So scrapping a random utility to get rid of 2 cargo trailer could be an awful lot of fun. It's not always going to happen, but it might happen sometimes. But if your opponent's got a force field attached, fine, you can scrap your own force field. But then you've lost your force field. And okay, maybe you're playing Jetfire. Jetfire, when you flip to alt mode, you get to attach an armor or utility from your scrap pile. So that's lovely. I say alt mode, I mean bot mode. You know what I mean, ladies and gentlemen? You know what I mean. But maybe you don't. Maybe you don't have an armor on there. Or maybe you don't want to scrap an armor that is on there. Either way, this can be super, super awkward. This can hurt. This can really hurt. So that's essentially where we come down. And it is, if you're willing to make that sacrifice, it is better than the alternatives. So back in wave 1, we had ramming speed. Ramming speed gets rid of 1 enemy upgrade. Okay, it's alright. And then we thought, well, maybe you don't want the orange icon. So in wave 2, we got Vaporize, which is exactly the same as ramming speed, but you get a blue icon rather than an orange icon. Cool. You get to scrap an enemy upgrade. And they are your vanilla let's do this cards. It's 1 upgrade. It isn't 2. And of course, we've got Disarm. Now, Disarm, interestingly enough, is just like the alt mode skill of Inferno. You pick a character and return all upgrades on it to the owner's hand. It's fine. But again, it's all the upgrades from 1 character. Let's say your opponent's got 2 force fields out. This won't get rid of them. Whereas our lovely little new card here, our Device Virus, will absolutely get rid of them. Now, the other option we've had is Salvage for Parts. The thing is, Salvage for Parts is kind of awkward, because it gets rid of all upgrades on all characters. And then everybody repairs 1 damage for each upgrade you scrapped. So if you scrap 2 upgrades off a character, you get to heal 2, but if you only scrap 1 off another, you only heal 1 from that character. And Salvage for Parts is a weird one because it's a real nuclear option. And that's kind of the point. It's why I like Device Virus. Because we've not got any good options for removing multiple upgrades. We got plenty of options for getting rid of 1. Okay. You know, bashing shield, for instance. When you put on a character, you scrap an enemy armor. But that's 1 armor from 1 character. It's not the same. And we got a few options for really wrecking, but they've all got downsides. Here, you got to lose 1, your opponent loses 2 of the same type. And that's essentially where we are. It's a really good card, but it's not always going to work. You're not always going to have the right upgrade attached to your character to use this, and even when you do, you're not always going to want to get rid of it. That's not always going to be a sacrifice that you're willing to make. And we do need to quickly mention it's got black icon. So that means that you get Pierce 1 until end of turn for every 1 that you flip. And you know there are going to be some Pierce decks that really take advantage of black icons. And this is going to fit in there very, very nicely. If nothing else, this is upgrade removal with a black icon. Just like Combat Dagger is bold with a black icon, and just like Rock Toss is cheeky damage with a black icon. If you're making a black deck, you need upgrade removal. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen. Here it is. So I like this card very much indeed. Huge thank you to the lovely Landon. Go and check him out at TCG Rollout on Twitter. And of course, make sure you're subscribed to him on YouTube. And then make sure you like this video. Oh, wait, no. Tell me what you think about the card. Go nuts, be nice. Then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, and follow me on Twitter at Wossy, where we talk about games like Transformers, but also a bunch of others. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wossy Plays.